Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. The other day I was at Target and I realized they have their own TV brand and it's called Hiro. This is a Roku TV and it's more on the budget side, but for people who shop at Target, this might be a decent TV for you. So today, let's see what it's all about. Now the one I picked up is a 55-inch, has 4K, and it does have the Roku remote control, but one thing I noticed is that it doesn't have the voice command. And it does work with Roku, has built-in Apple AirPlay, Apple HomeKit, and you can connect it to Alexa as well as Google using the Roku application. Now chances are you would be buying this TV as a gift or your older TV just went out. But one thing about reviewing TVs, Christmas is like every single day unboxing all these different brands and figuring out how good they are. All right, let's go and get everything out of the box and then we'll go over everything that it comes with. Now it looks like it's packed pretty well. In here we got this styrofoam on each side of it. And just so you guys know, this is the 55-inch, but you can get this TV in a 50 as well as a 65-inch if you want a different size to fit your application. It's pretty lightweight. So it does come with these feet. They're made out of plastic, which is expected on a bargain television. And it comes with this little package. Looks like a quick starter guide, the Roku remote control, and some batteries. Now here's a closer look at the remote control. You have your back button, home button, navigation. Down here you have some standard controls like play, pause, some hotkeys at the bottom, and over here to the side we have the volume rocker and the mute button. Now I'm going to put the feet on, and this kind of reminds me of LG TV because the way to set up, you got to drop the feet in and make sure they come out the bottom, then you can put your screwdriver in. So not ideal, but it worked at the end of the day. Now we have the feet on. There's a speaker on each side. There's a press button right here where you can change through the inputs. And keep in mind, this is a much thicker television, so you're not going to get all those frills of having a newer thin TV. Now here's the back of this TV. Looks like it has a metal chassis on it, which is pretty good. Now this is not my favorite, but it does have attached power cord and it does have some holes so you can easily mount it on the wall. Not a ton of inputs, but it does have a USB-C, and I'm pretty sure that's for charging different devices. It also has 3 HDMI, one is eARC, a digital output, and a TV tuner. And down here we have an Ethernet connection. And just so you know, this TV doesn't have a screen protector on it whenever you get it. It does have a piece of cardboard. What I'm going to do is go ahead and set it up, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. But for now, let's go ahead and do some demos to see what this TV is all about. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at some movie trailers, and what I'm seeing so far is that it doesn't have the inkiest black level, so you are going to see gray bars in these different parts, especially watching letterbox movies. Now what I'll do is go ahead and turn off the lights so we can take a closer look at it. And the colors are not too bad considering this is a budget television. It's going to be ideal for someone who wants to put it in their bedroom or garage. But me personally, I don't think I will go for the living room. With the lights back on, one thing I can notice is some of the gradient. So I don't see a smooth picture, but we'll check that out later when we get to some testing. But overall, it's not a bad picture if you have the right expectations. Now back to that contrast level and the gradient, you can see on this demo that it is not going to give you that dark picture quality, but overall it doesn't appear to be that bad for someone who's looking for something basic. And here's a few more demos for you to check out. And one thing I do notice is that you are going to get glare. As I walk back in the scene, you can see my pants and shirt right there. I walk back out. So if you have a lot of lights in your room, just keep in mind that you will get some glare on this TV from different sources, and that's not even bright. And here's an example of that gradient I was talking about. This should be very smooth, and sometimes you get this from 8-bit panels, but it's not a 10-bit panel because otherwise all that would be a lot cleaner. And these videos just to give you an idea what to expect if you walk into the store, because we're going to break it down and see more details that you wouldn't normally notice. Now let's take a look at some picture profiles in SDR mode, and we'll go down here to picture settings. So this whole time I had it movie settings, but you do have a few other ones to choose from. Now this is low power. I think it actually helps the contrast. Then we have standard, but you can only notice a little bit difference in the brightness, but not really affecting the picture. Then we have vivid, which got darker for some reason. Look at that. And then we have sports. This is going to bring out a lot more skin tones. As you see, it got a little bit clearer. And then we have movie mode. Now another thing about this TV, you do have different brightness levels. So this is normal, bright, brighter, And then you can go for that dark look. That's great for watching TV late at night, and back to normal. Now keep in mind, I am using an Apple TV. The only reason is because I'll have all my applications pre-set up. It just makes these videos a little bit easier to do. And as you can see right there, it does have an HDR that will pop up in the corner. Now, as far as picture profiles, you do have 3 of them. We have dark, standard, and bright. Let's flip through them real quick here. There's your standard, gives that more cool look. And then we have bright, that definitely helps out with the contrast, but you lose a lot of shadow details. So if we take a look there, you can see that difference there. And this one also allows you to adjust the brightness as well. So we can make it brighter as well as darker. And just so you know, you can customize the picture. So if you're trying to get a little bit better contrast ratio, you can go in here and play around with it. Another thing you have here is picture size. So that's normal, stretched, zoom, and automatic. So this is going to allow you to fit some of the old content on it. There's also a game mode. And then over here we have contrast, and that's what we're trying to get. When I turn down this contrast, the picture does get a lot darker. So again, you're going to lose some details, but this may help out with the black bars on it. And there's even a gamma correction here. As you go down these different ones, 1.8 is going to bring a lot more brightness in. And if you go down to 2.4, that's going to give you the darkest, but they do recommend 2.2. And there's some other settings down here as well, including color space. You can do automatic, native, custom. And if you have calibration equipment, you can go in here and play around with that as well. Now, if you're a sports fan, the TV has a decent picture on it. I wouldn't have the very high expectation, as I always say on bargain TVs, but it does look presentable, again, for that bedroom or garage type of scenario. And the motion rate looks pretty decent, but what we need to do is when we get to the test, we'll check it out with software just to see how clean it is going to be.
Not yet. We're still securing a couple inmates.
Man, it feels good seeing the guys who escaped last year going back to the raft.
Real good. The raft's an eyesore. It's secure. As long as the octopus-related flaws have been fixed.
Let's hope. Okay, closing in on you. Be there soon. Should let Mom know.
Now we're going to take a look at the input lag on this TV. Now keep in mind, this is only a 1080p 60 Hertz tester, but it kind of gives us ideal. And what I'm going to do is go in here and customize the picture. And I'm going to go down here and put it in gaming mode so we can get the fastest response time. So with that turned on, let's see what the input lag is. And keep in mind, 30 milliseconds or lower is considered pretty good. So we're getting about 13 milliseconds, which is not bad for a budget price television. If you go to some of the Samsungs, they're about 10, but keep in mind, if this was 4K testers, that would be even lower. Now let's go back to the PS5 and check out the capabilities of the display. But first I always check to see if 1440p can even run to this TV. And as you can see here, it does not support that whatsoever. Now, if we go back up here to video signal, as expected, it will do 4K at 60 frames per second. And normally these type of TVs will do 1080p as well. But you don't get all those options that you get like on some of the gaming televisions like TCL, Samsung upper end, and Hisense. Let's check the variable refresh rate, and it does support that. And if we go down here, we already know that it will support auto low latency. Besides the backlights, I'm not seeing much blooming on the television. You can see right here. So a lot of these TVs actually do a good job for not having a lot of blooming around the different edges. And it's because it's the design of LED televisions. Now, if you was to get mini LED, in some cases, those will have a lot more blooming on it, but this TV seems to be fine. Well, here's the motion. This is at 24 frames per second. And one thing about this TV, it doesn't have motion controls. What it does have is over here, if you change the picture profiles, you can see that it will change the line. So here's the Vivid, here's the sports, movie, low powered, and standard. So what I'm seeing here is at 24 frames per second, this TV might have a lot of judder to it. And that's that shaking that you see on that middle line and the top lines. This is 60 frames per second and it's very smooth. I'll go through those picture profiles again so you can take a look at it. And this is standard mode right now. Here we have Vivid, we have sports, and we have movie. So again, if you have 60 frames per second content, I think you're gonna be just fine getting a great picture out of this. Now here's the skin tones on it. It actually looks pretty good. I would say that it doesn't have very punchy colors, but it actually doesn't look too bad. Let's go and change this brightness down to normal. And then We'll try some of these other picture profiles. So that's the movie profile. There's your low, standard, vivid. And me personally, I tend to like the sports mode just because it makes the colors look a lot more punchier. So if you want to get that better picture quality like I like, you want to go over to that sports mode. But a lot of people like this very flat, warm look to it. And that's okay. We all have different opinions about things. So again, sports mode, movie mode. Let me know which one you like. One thing I do notice in the sports mode, you do lose some of the details in the shirts. You can see those shadow details came back. See, they're disappearing there. So I might be wrong about that. Now I will tell you, I'm very surprised because normally you'll see a lot of dirty screen effect. There's a little bit over here I can see here live, but again, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty decent. And here's an upscale test at 720p. Again, it's not that bad. I see just a little bit of jaggedy edges on some of these buildings, a little bit of artifacts, but nothing major. So if you have old content on it, I think you'll be just fine. If you have 1080p or 4K, of course, it's going to look a lot better. But for planned older 720p content, I feel that it's not going to be that bad unless you have a real low quality source going to it. But these are 4K videos that's been converted down to these different resolutions just so I can show you the differences on these televisions. And here's another glare test. As you can see, it will pick up a lot of light. So just keep that in mind if you plan on using this in a room with a lot of windows. Now, as far as viewing angles, we're on the front. We're going to move over to the side. And here live, you don't actually lose that much colors. It's actually pretty decent. But again, you can see those black bars in the top and the bottom areas when it comes to those black levels I was talking about on this video.
This is a Tech Steve dialogue test to check the clarity of this TV built-in speaker system. I recommend an audio system for movies, but if you're wondering how it sounds with music, let's test them now.
Turn it up, test those TV speakers. Let that twang resonate through the rafters.
To set it up is very easy. Just go ahead and choose your language, set up for home use. Then you want to connect your Wi-Fi. After the update, you can put in your email, but I do recommend activate with a QR code so you can log right in from the website. Pull up the camera on your phone, press on My Roku, and here you can register the account, but I'm an existing customer. And once I sign in, you can see that it did find a TV. Choose a room location. You will need to go through a series of questions, and you can choose any channels you want it to download. And as you can see, once the TV's registered, it will start downloading applications to get you ready. There will be special offers in here. You can decline everything by going down to the bottom, hit continue, and now it is complete. And you can download the Roku application. So I already have the Roku application downloaded. If I hit on devices, I can select the TV. Now here's what the application looks like. As you can see here, I can choose the different inputs. You also get an on-screen remote control. I can press enter. And to finish up these steps, I do have a gaming console and a Apple TV plugged into it. As you can see here, I can just use the phone to do all this. And we're just going through all the steps with the phone, not the TV remote. Now going back to the application, you have a guide on here, you have a back, you have a home. You also have all the same functionality as you would on the TV remote. If I need to type something, I hit the keyboard at the top and just type it right in. And I can even use the phone's volume control to control the volume on the TV, which is pretty cool. I have made a few videos on Roku TVs, but just give you an idea, this is the home screen. You have live TV, you have backdrops where you can add screensavers, and then you have a list of your application and inputs. If you go to the side, you can choose live TV, and that's if you have antenna plugged into it. You can search for different applications. And if you go down here to settings, you can add Roku compatible Bluetooth headphones, speakers, things like that. You have different themes. And if you go down here, you can customize everything. And just keep in mind, this TV does support Apple AirPlay and HomeKit, and you can cast to it from like YouTube and different sources like that. So that's a quick rundown of the operating system. Didn't want to go too far into this, but just kind of give you a rough idea of how the Roku operating system looks. After watching this video, you should have a better understanding about this Hiro TV that you can pick up at Target. Again, this is not a sponsored video. I'm just looking for budget TVs, and I will review more expensive one as well. In fact, I have one coming up. But here's the thing. This TV is not for someone who's really hardcore into movies or hardcore into gaming. This is going to be a TV for your bedroom, your kitchen, your living room, or something for someone who doesn't really understand technology, because the Roku operating system is still one of the easiest ones to use. Now, as far as the overall color reproduction, this doesn't have QLED, but I thought in some scenes it actually looked pretty decent and streams very well. As far as if you want to hook up YouTube application and things like that on it, I think it'll work just fine. I also like the backdrop feature, so when you're not using the TV, it will go into like a picture mode where it shows different art on the screen, and you can cast to this from your Apple devices and Android devices. So with that being said, I would say with the right expectations, this is a decent TV to buy, but keep in mind everything that I spoke about. I'll leave all the links in the description below, and you can go check it out for yourself and read other people's reviews. And if you haven't already, make sure you go over to my new website, 4ktvchat.com. We're signing up different people. It's absolutely free, and you can upload your TV stories, electronic stories there. That's all I have on this one. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.